quarter of a mile, keep left to continue on Fags Road. Keep left to continue on Fags Road. In a quarter of a mile, turn left onto Great Southwest Road, A30. Continue on A312 for 1 mile. yards, at Wagoners Roundabout, take the second exit onto the Parkway, A312. Exit the roundabout onto the Parkway. Continue on the Parkway for 1 mile. In a quarter of a mile, at Cranford Parkway Interchange, take the second exit onto the M4 slip road to Heathrow Airport, M25. Exit the roundabout onto the slip road. In a quarter of a mile, merge onto M4.
SNP's leader at Westminster. 6:32 on LBC. Amelia Cox has the headlines.
People who test positive for the coronavirus will no longer legally be required to self-isolate in England from Thursday. Boris Johnson has also told MPs free testing will be scrapped in April as part of his strategy for living with COVID. A fourth coronavirus vaccine will be offered to those most at risk of getting seriously ill in England. The Health Secretary says boosters will be given to people aged 75 and over, the clinically vulnerable and those living in care homes. And a number of flood warnings are still in place following Storm Franklin. A severe alert, which means a risk to life, has been issued for the River Severn in Shropshire and Bewdley.
LBC Business Update.
With Direct Line Landlord Insurance. Come direct for landlord insurance.
Fuel prices have hit another record high. A litre of petrol now costs on average more than £1.49, while it's £1.53 for a litre of diesel. LBC weather mostly clear and dry tonight. Heavy rain pushing into the northwest in the early hours, a low of 2 degrees.
This is LBC.
Save pounds at the pump at Morrison's with 7p off every litre of fuel when you spend £40 or more in store until Sunday the 27th of February. So fill up your trolley and fill up your tank for less. Morrison's. Make good things happen. Coupon required. Excludes Morrison's daily and online. Terms, conditions and exclusions apply. See in store for details. Collect by 27th of February. Redeem by 6th of March.
For GCSE and A-level success, one name stands out. Justin Craig. Small, tailored group tuition that really works. Justin Craig courses consolidate knowledge, boost confidence and improve technique for mocks, assessments and exams. Available in classrooms and online. One-to-one also available. With over 40 years experience, Justin Craig has helped more than 100,000 students. For more details, visit justincraig.ac.uk. Justin Craig, tailored for you.
The highway code has changed to help protect people walking, cycling or horse riding. However you travel, you have a responsibility to help keep those more at risk on the road safe. We've updated the rules for passing people cycling and horse riding to give them plenty of space. And people crossing, waiting to cross or cycling straight ahead have priority at junctions. These are just some of the changes we all need to make now. Check the changes. Let's keep each other safe. Visit gov.uk/DFT/highway code changes to find out more. Changes to the highway code apply to Great Britain only.
Whether you run a very small business or are self-employed, you're probably doing more online than ever before. But you're not the only ones. Cyber criminals target even the smallest of businesses. Thankfully, you don't need to be an IT expert to stay protected. Just go to cyberaware.gov.uk to get your customized cyber action plan. A practical range of steps that will help protect your livelihood.
In a quarter of a mile, keep right to stay on M4. Keep right to stay on M4.
Your comfort zone. Tado. Smart thermostats to help you save energy. Visit tado.com. T-A-D-O. German engineered.
Stepping out of a hot, steamy shower, then wrapping yourself in a warm, soft, snuggly towel. At Swale Heating, we help you stay warm. Our expert engineers install efficient boilers, such as Worcester Bosch, with warranties of up to 10 years. And if it's an emergency, we can get the job done within 24 hours. Visit swaleheating.com. Rely on us to keep you warm.
Eddie Mayer on LBC.
With Motorway, offering free home collection when selling your car.
We're going to get 2 more calls, texts and tweets on COVID and today's announcement from Boris Johnson in just a second. But an update on Ukraine. We talked earlier in the programme about a highly unusual, I don't know what to call it, not quite a news conference, not quite a meeting, we're not sure whether it was live, but we saw President Putin and a number of senior politicians and advisors on screen together. And in this meeting, whatever you want to call it, President Putin said he was thinking about recognizing the independence of 2 separatist republics in East Ukraine. He said the leaders of those republics wanted to recognize their independence. And as we heard from one of our guests earlier, that's a really important thing for him to say and for them to apparently go along with, because it meant that he could, if he wanted, tear up peace deals signed 7 years ago that gave Ukraine's sovereignty over both of those areas, Lugansk and Donetsk. So, what's developed in the last few minutes? James Waterhouse of the BBC and others reporting this. Well, reporting this from Russian state TV. It's important to say that. This is what Russian state TV is saying. President Putin has told the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz and the French President Emmanuel Macron that he intends to sign a decree recognizing that Moscow-backed Donetsk and Luhansk are people's republics as independent states. In other words, just what we were
In a quarter of a mile, keep right to stay on M4.
told to expect President Putin on state TV in Russia anytime soon, perhaps confirming what Russian state TV have been reporting. We will monitor, of course. Ian here from 7, including Downing Street News Conference.
Keep right to stay on M4.
Christine now in Windsor about what's been announced today. Christine, welcome. What do you think?
Good evening, Eddie. Yes, it's very serious, and it's a bit sinister.
Continue on M4 for 4 miles.
The economy against health and safety, which is so bad, and it's more sinister because there will be no test and tracing, which is so essential to record the spread of the virus or the damping down of the virus. So we have no balance or no measurement of what's happening with the public, and to do away with something it's so irresponsible. I've said he's lost his moral compass, and they are cruel to do that. That is so important. Do business. People at work, youngsters. I mean, I'm 72 and I'm not sick, but the youngsters they think they're invincible, and they've got coronavirus, they've got Omicron, and they look so poorly when they come back, suffering with chest breathing, and they have to have pumps and things like that. It's just dreadful. And how can he actually ever say that this is the right thing he's doing? It's wrong at a wrong time, because we've done really well and we'll go 10 steps backwards, but there's no measurement of what's happening and when it's happening. Do you understand?
What's your personal, fear level about this announcement?
But it'll spread like wildfire and affect young people who think they're invincible. It's spreading like wildfire now, so I don't know why it's not being recorded. There's so many people, they have a quarter of the working staff at work. It is frightening.
Christine, thank you. Dawn in Eltham says, hi Eddie, my mum is fully vaccinated, had COVID before Christmas and has ended up with a heart murmur. The specialist she's seeing says this is due to COVID. By accepting COVID in this way, we're inviting long-term chronic illness for people. COVID is a vascular disease, not only respiratory like flu, which causes pneumonia. The burden on the NHS will be massive without putting in some level of public health measures for this virus. This text says, imagine Facebook decided to delete their entire database and start again. No idea who to target, market trends and so on. You'd think they were crazy. It would be a bad decision. Well, Boris just decided to dump the database. This on Twitter, the World Health Organization is alarmed about countries that are releasing COVID safeguards too early. To paraphrase Dr. Ryan, it's better...
In 2 miles, at junction 6, take the A355 exit to Slough Central.
6060973. Here's Sarah. Welcome, Sarah. What do you think?
I think it was a very stick your head in the sand approach, to be honest with you. And I was saying to your lovely researcher earlier, I have children, and I'll probably sound very naive, and people probably shake their head and whatever at me. 2 of them were off school today because they couldn't go to school because they were sick. So you have to have a 48-hour thing where they can't go to school because they don't want the infection to spread. There's chickenpox in my children's school rife, and my friend's son has it. He feels fine, he feels amazing. He's jumping around on the trampoline outside there, apparently. But just because he feels fine, but he's riddled with chickenpox that he's covered. Just because he feels fine, when he feels fine, should he then be allowed to go to school? What is the point of this? Oh, well, if you feel fine, you should be able to go to work. It's ridiculous. It's just asking for trouble ahead. People are going to get sick, and you don't know. I've got a friend of mine whose mother has cancer. I've known her since I was 5 years old. All it takes is my kids to come home from school, I get it. And then I go visit my friend's mother, who I do regularly, and drop her some shopping over. And then it's game over, isn't it? It's just the most ridiculous.
Well, what about, I mean, to listen to Boris Johnson today, his argument was that we need to move from the government telling everyone what to do to personal responsibility.
I understand that completely, and it is everybody's personal responsibility and duty of care to whoever.
In a quarter of a mile, at junction 6, take the A355 exit to Slough Central.
Some people are very irresponsible, and unless you have the element of you must test, you must do this, you must have that, it's not going to work, is it? You're going to have the irresponsible. I mean, you already had the irresponsible lot.
Exit at junction 6.
Doing whatever they wanted. Anyway, you had the people who couldn't afford to take time off work because they tested positive. They still went to work because they couldn't afford.
In a quarter of a mile, at the roundabout, take the third exit onto Tuns Lane, A355.
How are you going to understand how this variants work? And I just think it's a very silly thing to do. And if you have things in place, such as for chicken pox or sickness bugs and things like that at schools, as an example, you should surely have it for this, because this is far more serious.
Sarah, thank you. We'll hear from Boris Johnson in a different setting, the Downing Street Media Centre. That's due to start at 7 o'clock. Timings have slipped a little today, but Ian will have all of those details for you here on LBC. In the Commons, we brought you some of that live. Other people we didn't have time to bring you include the former Health Secretary for England, the Conservative MP, Matt...
Exit the roundabout onto Tuns Lane.
This House voted unanimously on the statutory measures necessary to keep people safe during the pandemic. And
continue on A355 for 1 mile.
These measures are no longer necessary, and indeed that we're the first major country in the world to be past the pandemic. But isn't it extraordinary that despite that consensus on restrictions back then, the consensus on giving people back their freedom, which is often so much harder, and trusting to personal responsibility, that consensus appears only to exist on this side of the House.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, and I think it's a great shame that the opposition cannot find it in themselves to support what I think is a balanced and proportionate approach, and one, Mr. Speaker, that recognises that COVID has not gone away and that we cannot throw caution to the winds.
Another intervention worth hearing is Sir Graham Brady. People talk about influential backbench MPs. Well, Sir Graham certainly is. He chairs the 1922 committee. If a Conservative MP is unhappy with Boris Johnson, it's Sir Graham Brady that gets the letter or the email saying, let's get him out. So let's hear what Sir Graham had to say to the Prime Minister.
I warmly welcome the statement the Prime Minister has made. The Prime Minister will also be aware of growing international evidence that lockdowns have been largely ineffective in preventing COVID mortality. And we're acutely aware of the massive damage which has
continue for 1.5 miles.
And to non-COVID health of the people due to lockdowns. Will he review pandemic planning for the future to make sure these crucial lessons are learned?
Yes, I thank my right honourable friend, and he's right to draw attention to all sorts of studies about the efficacy of lockdowns. We'll look at all the evidence. I happen to think that the actions of the collective actions of the British public were indispensable in saving many thousands of lives, Mr. Speaker, but I'm sure that all the evidence will be looked at in the course of the inquiry.
That's them. What about you? 0345 6060 973. Boris Johnson says the pandemic is not over, but we are past the peak of Omicron. It's time for personal responsibility rather than government restrictions. It's time we got our confidence back. Keir Starmer said it was a half-baked announcement. Tell me what you think. 0345 6060 973. More from Downing Street at 7 with Ian. Now at 6:46, Amelia with the headlines.
The Prime Minister has confirmed the legal requirement for people with COVID to self-isolate will be scrapped in England on Thursday. A fourth coronavirus vaccine will be offered to those most at risk of getting seriously ill 6 months after their third dose. And 2 police officers and a former constable charged with sharing offensive messages with Sarah Everard's killer have been named. LBC weather mostly clear and